Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith in the Black Quant VTF here, T3 Live, and if it's Tuesday, it's the Wheels in Motion shoe. So, what do we got going here? We got SPY, and the wall of worry keeps getting climbed. So, well, we have a massive break here. Now, we've had a nice run here, and a lot of people are like, it's gone too far too fast. Well, we'll find out. Right now, you got inside month to the upside. Now, it's still a two-bar pattern of here. We know that. But there's only a few ways price can reverse, and one of them is this, 2, 1, 2. So as long as SPY's over 270.47, that's in force. And so if we go back down to the weekly, you're going to see this here, the 2-2 reversal, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2 continuation, and now we're still tuned to the upside. So as I've been talking about, this outside bar, this range. So whenever you see a range and you get back into it, the magnitude is trying to take this out and triangle all these guys out. However, we've had a nice run here, and it wouldn't surprise me to get some sort of triangle them out a little bit, but until you can get a reversal on the weekly, not going down. And so the daily here, tight range today. So we could still go 2-2 daily on the reverse. We just haven't gotten that. You got it down into here minorly, and you can see just gradually walking up. Here it was a 2-2 back up, sub try, but right now, and 2 down and then 2 up, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, until that changes, up we go. And so one of the things you want to be able to do is then go time it with the 60. And so here when I talk about the halftime show, so we have this run sheep run in the morning, right, gap up. Then we go into the highs, then we get a 2-2 reversal back down, all right? And if they're really going to hit them, there's your chance, right? You take the daily opening, come back down. But then you can see this here, all right, the hammer down, and the 2-2 reversal back up. And this occurred over 270.263, and the opening was 272.44. So when we took that out, it kicks back into full time frame continuity, which takes us into the highs. And then we stall out up here after we go into the highs, because we also know broadening formations do that. And so here's your 15-minute broadening formation in the SPY to keep an eye on coming in the morning. But until we get some of those reversals, we also stay in a lot on the gaps, because we still have earnings and stuff like that. And as you can see, a lot of times we're just going audible onto the halftime show to see what's going on as we continue to climb. But it's very important to understand the sequence of how to look for things, because if you were paying attention when this 60 kicked in, that's when everything started to go again. And it's like clockwork, because full time frame continuity means that the participants on the buy side are all taking the offer by monthly, weekly, daily, and 60. That's a good thing for your long positions, just so you know. So a lot of things looking similar. We got a ton of inside month breaks to the upside, pretty much simultaneous break to the upside. And we got a lot of things that ran a lot. You got like TTD and stuff like this that have run into more recent highs in Coop and all this kind of stuff. All right, all this kind of stuff just jamming up into the highs. So ideally, we want to see if there's anything that we can rotate into in a grinding market. Oftentimes it stalls out, and then you'll see more sector rotation as opposed to just futures bringing things up. One of the groups of the year was the REITs, and VNQ. VNQ, you might recall, does this. Here's the weekly, and now still trying to come through here, because VNQ now, let me save this. And VNQ does this on the weekly and on the monthly, coming back up through all this stuff. And there's still this yearly range. Remember, it was an inside year, all right? And then it went inside year and down. Now, whenever you have a tight range, oftentimes that's the middle of the broadening formation. You can come rip right through all this stuff. So still keeping an eye on stuff like VNO here, which is an inside month, and comparatively, it hasn't had the runs that the other ones have. And you can see this coming up something like this. Here's your low. All right, your inside weaker, 2-1-2 reversal, Momo hammer, and then you'll see something like this here. So maybe we can get some out of something like that. AVB here already does it, and you can see this real obvious broadening formation here. Like so, bam, 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 bam. So we'll see. We can stay on some of those REITs. Like I said, that VNO, FRT, SPG, all this still chugging. You see SPG's got a little bit more room up into there. If we take a look in the Dow, you got Boeing. And this is what you like to see, albeit gap and go. They have exhaustion risk when you go on the highs, but anytime we get to a Tuesday, I want to see a bright green bar, right? I want to see something that's not inside. So we do have exhaustion risk in Boeing because we're going into the highs, but look at this. See this? And this is what I talk about when you have that tight ranger. You take it out to the upside, take it down to the downside, and then the broadening formation will expand it. So as of right now, Boeing trying to go triangle expando into new highs. Cummins engine, CMI. And you can see this range here, outside, inside, outside, right? That's going to give you the bigger broadening formation we know. And here it is, boom, 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 boom. And so this goes RevStrat here, 1, 2, 2. See if we can come up onto this stuff. So I'd keep an eye on Cummins engine here coming forward. If we go to the Utes, Dominion, once you look at for stuff like this, and here you can see broadening formation in here on the weekly Dominion, like so. Bam, 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 bam. Now starting to come back up again, and so you can watch that with the rest of the utilities, and certainly be keeping an eye on this. The 2-2 reversal would occur over 72.90 on the monthly basis. Also talk about looking at some of the stuff that's hasn't come back to, like the transports. And if you look at, if you go to the trannies are now going inside month 312 to the upside. So stuff that's still kind of in the basement here is you got your FedEx and your UPS here, still nowhere near all that that kind of run and stuff that we've seen on the other stuff. And UPS, you're going to see this on the weekly, like so. So still plenty of room on this baby here in UPS, and even American Airlines still putting in these lower highs. So we want to see, as like I said, we'll continue to watch how this rotation goes as the grind continues, and or if we get some type of reversal back down, albeit just daily or 60, stuff like that. We got an oil number coming in the morning, and you got Chevron doing this. Chevron trying to come up on take this stuff here. Chevron also the inside month to the upside after triangling out down here. And so once again, one of those things that's not just blasting in the highs just yet, but you do have your inside month and up. And you've got crude coming out tomorrow. Inside date doing a whole bunch of nothing. You can see this tight triangle in here. This is really tough in here. So we're not expecting too much out of that. So for right now, that outside bar is the triangle, and now inside on the week. So still waiting for some more stuff out of that. If we go into the golds, RGLD. And RGLD, been watching this big try for a long time. And this is what you wait for. You wait for the corrective activity, bring them in. There's your 2-2 reversal on the week. And that set up the monthly hammer. Here's the greater try, but here's the smaller one. Boom, 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 boom. And right there, momentum hammer. Just trying to get through all that stuff. I can shrink it down so you can see this a little bit better. Like so. And on the daily, you get this. Get the momentum hammer up there to try and take her up. So we'll see. You can watch that with GDX and all the other fun. CRM is one of those that is getting close to the all-time high. And so when you get up in here, we're just looking to triangle them out because you got the 3-2 weaker here to go the upside and take out 160, 108. So a little bit more meat on those bones, but we'll see. SNPS synopsis. And this is another big try that made it. So you can see this in here, the lower low, the higher high, the lower low. So this is the try that's going to look like this on the daily. I've been watching this one for a while. Like so. So it goes in here, grows, gets bigger. Now it's trying to expand out of that. And so the monthly here is the inside month to the upside, and still plenty of room to go to new all-time highs. They want to keep ripping that. OLED. And that's a 3-2 monther coming off their back into an old 3. So the OLED going to look like this here. Boom, boom. And there's, I'm sorry, over here, because this is lower low, higher high, lower low. So this is higher than that. So that's a good thing. But you can see coming back through this formation, as you've seen in all the other charts, once you start going back and forth like this, the ranges get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so if that's true here, we can continue to watch for OLED on the 3-2 month to the upside. Like so. If we go to eBay, and eBay, here you go. That was the RevStrat monther off the lows. That was nice. But it holds its gap. And it had a gap. It holds its gap, goes inside, weaken up. So now it's starting to climb back through all this stuff. And once again, the good thing is nowhere near nowhere near those highs up in here. So we'll see how eBay continues to travel off of that. NTAP. And NTAP, you can see this just starting. All these other guys go gunning the highs. This is just inside month and up, right down off of this stuff. So plenty of room on the old NTAPper here. Starts walking up this stuff, climbing back through here. So we can stay on the NTAP, and the NTAP has a bigger upper level triangle like this here. Here's where it started, and then it expandos there. Now, if we can get this thing going, ripping back through here, this would be that would be nice. Even old Hewlett Packard coming back out of the ashes, and Hewlett gives you that inside month after triangling out and trying to come back up through here. So on the week, you're going to see something like this. Boom, 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 boom. And now, if we can keep that going, that would be nice too. If we go to Intel, Intel is inside week to the upside, and now finally trying to get out of this monthly here. Tight range in here, but you're outside, inside to see if there's any more in the Intel, and obviously you can watch that with the usual suspects. If we go to Dix, here, Dix, inside month to the upside. And so the hopes on this would be that this here is the continuation triangle to come blasting back into the giant greater try of this that we've been watching for years. So we can keep an eye on that. And if you go to the weekly to see what this looks like, it's going to look similar to the big monthly. I guess that's because how things trade, huh? There we go. Down, 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 and now come ripping back to this weekly, so you can keep an eye on Dix for that. RH is inside week to the upside here. Still would be inside month. So we could wait and see if we get the break of that stuff. And on the daily, you'll see this is higher levels here. These are all higher, slowly moving up, and sometimes the gradual the better. But we'll see with that weekly. Tesla, still handling inside month, but certainly keeping an eye on this try as we keeps marching up. Today we got the Momo Hammer, got a big gapper up in here, and who knows? Tesla's been known to dig herself out. Today with the Goog holds, and Goog comes down, even though it was a gapper, didn't take out the lows, which was good, so it still became a 2 up, trying to expand this as Google takes the month. It's inside month to the upside. Make sure you can see all this stuff. Sometimes I go too fast. The inside month to the upside, outside, inside, which means triangle, then consolidation, now trying to break to the upside. And the good part about that was if you were watching during the day, the 60 comes in and then goes inside 60, and here's your 2-2 reversal on the 60. Right here, which took you all the way back to the highs after doing this here. All right, so you can let it correct. There's your broadening formation. Let it make the lower low, then go in 2-2 reversal on that, and the 30 was pretty too. Here, boom, 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 get. And there's your inside 30, so we'll see what comes of that. Amazon's still stuck in this tight try here. And as much as it's been maligned and all that kind of stuff, the thing about Amazon, it still says inside week of the outside week, which is broadening formation daily, which is going to give you this. All right. So Amazon's still stuck in here. So how's it get out of this? So in something like this, yeah, if it starts racing towards either side, we can go after it. Or if it gets out of this stuff and then comes back on either side, really is what we'd want, because Amazon at this point handling inside month still, so be aware of that. Apple, we finally got the monthly reversal, and there you go, the 2-2 back up, and it started with the inside day yesterday. So Apple back on the monthly buy list here on the 2-2 finally. Adobe, and Adobe above the month, and a 3-2 week here. So whenever you see that, and you got the lower coming after at least something like this, 260.72. Got close there, we'll see, and try and use that monthly. So on this weekly, a daily is going to make it look like this. Like so. And so anytime you can take that out, it doesn't necessarily have to go there, albeit sometimes they do. On the downside, we had some medical stuff here, and BDX, and so BDX gives us the big outside day, and so one of the things that we want to look for, since we know outside bars exist, and this is an outside bar, all right, after something does something like this here, is look at the longer term charts. And so what that does is that takes the monthly back potential 3 and 1 bar rev strat in red, as well as look at the weekly here, Potential, it's outside bar weak. So anytime we get more signals of full time frame counter to the downside, we're looking to at least take this out and get an outside bar below 239.70, and then maybe even these guys if they want to keep hitting them. Signa goes 3-2 weak to the downside here, and potential taking the monthly inside month to the downside 312, and we can watch that with our buddies Humana and stuff like that. Humana doing a little bit less, but Humana to start off the week and pretty much the month here, inside day. So Humana hasn't made a decision. The Centene got pounded today, and Centene, the big outside bar, right? And so the reason this break was important is that it gaps up. So once it starts coming back down red, right, you have the potential for an outside day, just like in anything else, which then it does take the weekly outside here, right? You got a ton of room on the month, but one of the things I talk about in the course as far as time frame counter, one of the things you want to look for is change, right? So Centene was green on the month, but once it broke 130.08, it went back red. And anytime that 60 was red, here's your 2-2 reversal, up, two down, boom. And once it came through here, right in here, I went full throttle to the downside and collapsed. And so there's some real nice 30s. And so when you watch the gaps, oftentimes I can say you can just watch the 30s and the 60s like you saw the Goog. CNC, the inside 30 here, the 2-1-2 reversal, the 2-1-2 continuation, and then the higher high and cover. CNX, I don't know how much more puking she's got, but CNX, the few, the proud, the inside month and down, and 3-2 on the week, you're just going into lower lows. And so the problem with lower lows is as you see these ranges expand and go back and forth, you better stay there, because anytime you come back to a previous range, you can get chopped and get one of these triangles up ye bong. GNTX, that's a technical term. Still handily inside month. But you do have this weekly 3-2. So we can respect that if they start to hit that, because the range expansion of the range expansion once you have an outside bar. SSD was a gap today, but 3-2 down on the week, red on the month. And the daily, you can have a tough time getting out of there. So be aware that a good chance of an inside day. And when you see something that closes like in the middle of a big range, you're always going to go look at these 60s and be like, look, is this tradable? No. That's going to have to change. So eventually there'll be an internal triangle. Yeah, how's Vanda doing today? VNDA, another red day. VNDA is also going 2 on the week. And here, it's inside month to the downside. All right, so that's, you can pay attention to that. HAE. And you got an inside month down, big old gapper puker below last week's lows and falling apart. And so you can start to see what the 60s do. And you can see when this comes up. And this was not inside, so it doesn't matter. It goes rev strat here, 1-2-2 when it takes, I'm sorry, let me get my cursor. When it takes this out. And if you go to the 30, how'd that look? There you go. All right, so you can keep an eye on that. CBT. Another one having some problems in CBT. Here's the potential 1-bar outside monther. And on the gap today, that puts us as an outside week, so we can still pay attention to that next week to try and take all this stuff out. INGN. INGN doesn't quite take the week yet. At the low of this is 144.40. Oh, it did. I'm sorry, it did, and then came back up. So my bad. So that's already an outside weaker. We'll see. Like I said, when you get these tight ranges like this, now you can see how steep the triangle comes on these guys. You got the upper part of the tri. Now, does it triangle this or come through this stuff? All right, but can have easily full time from continuity to the downside. Not everybody can say that. ATTU, and ATTU went inside day to the downside, which breaks this last week's lows. Shooter counters hammer. Red on the month, like so. Archer Daniels Midland, and you can see this bright red on the month, and does the 2-2 reversal on the week, and gap down. So you got some gap dissemination to do, but we like coming back to previous ranges like this. So you can keep an eye on those 60s to see how that sets up. Looks like I showed you the SPY 60. CHD gaps down here, gap and sit, but on the gap does give you the month and down, and it's also going to be a 3-weeker. Here, can't change. So you just triangle this stuff out. The question going to be weak enough to come down after that. We'll see. AGN. And AGN, Allergan, and here's your 2-2 reversal weekly repuker. Still inside the month, but getting closer to taking that down. So it is below last week's lows, and anything doing this in this market, something I want to know about, especially the market turns around. CTRL, and nice kicker on the gapper, and that goes 3-week, and potential outside month there here below 1662, getting closer to that. WRK, and WRK getting close to taking the inside month to the downside. That would be 37.23. It's below last week's lows. CME, flirting with the month and downer, somewhat of a tight range here, but you do have taking out last week's low. So the question is tight triangle in this stuff, or can we get that thing really going? And now you're going to have an inside day to try and kick that in. Fabrinet, FN, puke. Inside week to the downside, 312 down. So ideally want to take at least this out, 51.50, getting close to that. It'll still be an inside month, but then we'll see how much more they want to hit it. All right, when you get the top of the try like this here, and the hopes is that. Here's your broadening formation, 51.50, take that up. Hopefully you get a little bit more out of that if they hit it. Not doing too much here. DSW. A DSW is an outside day. And red on the month here. And for the week, rev strat to the downside. COG, we got energy numbers coming up, but COG, one of the few that prod the inside week and downers. Not doing much on the month there, but we've known that this thing has been a tight triangle business for a while. And you can see this here on the monthly here. Triangle needed to grow. So the question is, has it grown enough to get anything going out of that? But like I said, Jeepers Creepers rally, basically it's a simultaneous break to the upside with the weeklies and the monthlies until it isn't. All right, and so we'll keep on watching those 60s, watching those dailies for any type of reversals to see if they're going to be strong enough to reverse anything on the weekly. But as of right now, first down still going strong. So until that ends, we'll just keep playing it that way. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith in the Quant VTF here, T3 Live of the Wheels in Motion Show.